This is a letter to the version of me who will look back on this day, this exact moment in my life, with a kind of clarity I don't have access to yet. She will see something I can't. She will understand something I'm still learning. And she will know what all of this became. There's a future version of me who has learned how to live more gently. She has more room inside her days than I do right now. She has more steadiness in her voice, more breathing space in her decisions. She moves a little slower than I do, not because she's older, but because she's deliberate. She knows what's worth her energy and what isn't. She's learned to say no without guilt and yes without fear. She isn't perfect. She isn't trying to be, but she has finally found a rhythm that feels like it fits the shape of her life. The version of me I'm imagining has made space around the edges, the corners where I usually cram pressure or worry or obligation. She has filled those spaces with honesty instead, and it shows. Not in a dramatic, overnight way, but in the soft accumulation of tiny choices, the kind that eventually shift a life. She doesn't look back at this moment and feel shame. She doesn't feel behind. She doesn't feel like she should have known better. She simply sees this as one of the stepping stones she needed to cross, one of the necessary in-between places on the way to who she becomes. She remembers the pressure I felt to figure everything out all at once, to hold things together, to start over with grace and grit, even when my energy was stretched thin. She remembers the questions that kept me awake, the ones I didn't know how to answer, the ones I tried to outrun, the ones that felt too big and too heavy to carry alone. She remembers the moments when I doubted myself, when I worried there wasn't enough time left for certain dreams, when I wondered whether rebuilding at this age was a mistake or a miracle. And she understands exactly why I felt that way. Not because I was weak, but because I was human. She remembers how many things I was working through at once, how many patterns I was untangling, how many old stories I was rewriting, how many losses I was still metabolizing quietly in the background. She remembers that this was the season when I learned the limits of self-sufficiency, and the season where I began loosening my grip on the idea that I had to be strong all the time. Because she knows something I don't yet. Strength doesn't always come from holding it together. Sometimes it comes from letting go, from asking for help, from admitting what is true even when the truth feels inconvenient. And she remembers that this was the turning point, the place where things didn't look sorted on the outside, but were shifting on the inside in ways I couldn't measure yet. When she looks back on me, on this exact moment, she feels tenderness, not pity, not frustration, tenderness. She wishes she could sit beside me, quiet and steady, and tell me the things she knows now. She wishes she could show me the map, even if just the next few inches of it, so I'd stop assuming the worst. She would tell me that the things I think I've lost have made room for things I couldn't have imagined, that the disruptions became redirections, that the emptiness became space, that the uncertainty became possibility. She'd tell me that I am not running out of time. I am entering a season where time finally begins working with me instead of against me. She'd remind me that every skill I've collected, every hardship I've endured, every identity I've held or released is leading me somewhere real, somewhere aligned. She would tell me that the work I'm doing now matters, even if no one sees it yet, even if it feels invisible, even if I doubt myself between breaths. She'd tell me that the things I think are falling apart are actually being rearranged. And she'd tell me not to rush the process. That becoming someone new requires moments like this. And she would say this gently, because she knows I don't always listen well. She would also say, "The future you're building is already unfolding." So here is what she wants to say to me. Directly, without distance. I know this season feels uncertain. I know it feels like you're trying to hold on to pieces that no longer fit. I know you're afraid of wasting time, afraid of choosing wrong, afraid of starting over again. But I need you to hear this. You didn't make the wrong turn. You didn't fall behind. You didn't ruin anything. You're not in the ashes. You're in the blueprint. One day you'll look back on this exact moment and see how necessary it was. You'll see how much strength you built quietly. You'll see how many things were shifting beneath the surface long before they showed up in your life. You don't have to know everything right now. You don't have to be confident every day. You don't have to pretend you're not scared. Just stay honest. Stay present. Stay open to help. Stay gentle with yourself even when you feel lost. Because I'm living in the life you're building, and I want you to know it's worth it. Signed, the you who will look back on this one day in gratitude. P.S. Tell me one thing you hope your future self remembers about you in the comments below.